Esther. They say I'm a hero in the Bible. I really don't think so. I was just being obedient to my God. Maybe that does make me a hero. I'm not sure. I'll let you decide. This is my story. When I was just a baby, my parents died. But my uncle Mordecai adopted me and raised me as his own. He worked for King Xerxes. One day, my uncle came home and said I had to hurry and pack to go to the palace in Susa. He said the king was looking for a new queen and all the beautiful young women were to go at once. I didn't think I was beautiful at all. My uncle said I was beautiful and special from the moment I was born. He said God had a plan for my life. So I packed and went with my uncle. When we got to the palace, I was taken to Haggai, who watched over all the women who came. We were given spa treatments for 12 months, a whole year. Can you believe that? I was treated with oils and myrrh for 6 months, and then 6 months of perfume and cosmetics. That's a lot of beauty treatments. It was my turn to go before the king. I asked for nothing except what Haggai suggested. I won favor with everyone. When I went before the king, I won his favor as well, and he placed the royal crown on my head and made me a queen. Then one night, my uncle Mordecai came to tell me of a plot to kill the king. Mordecai heard 2 of the king's officers who guarded the doorway became very angry and were planning to kill the king. So I reported it to the king and made sure my uncle received the credit. They investigated and found it to be true, and the men were taken out. My uncle had told me that there was a man named Haman, the king's right-hand man, that did not like Jews. I mean, he did not like them at all. So under no circumstance was I to let anyone know that Mordecai was my uncle or that I even knew him. Haman was even plotting to have my uncle and all the other Jews killed. I knew what I needed to do. I needed to find favor with the king and try and stop this from happening. I told my uncle to gather all the Jews in Susa and fast for me. I asked them to not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. My attendants and I fasted also. I told them when the fast is over, I will go to the king, even though it was against the law. And if I perish, I perish. I know that was so dramatic, but it was true. Mordecai did exactly what I asked. On the 3rd day, I put on my royal robes and stood in the inner court of the palace in front of the king. King Xerxes was sitting on his royal throne and saw me. He was pleased with me and held out his gold scepter. When the king does this, it means you can come to him, and then you are to touch the end of the scepter. So I did. The king asked me, "What is my request?" He said, "Anything up to half the kingdom, it will be given to me." I asked that the king would come with Haman to a banquet I had prepared for them. He said yes, and they came to the banquet. During dinner, he asked me what is my request. I asked him if he and Haman would come to another banquet the next night, and I would then answer his question. When Haman left the banquet that night, he passed by my uncle. And because Mordecai wouldn't bow to him, Haman's rage grew stronger towards him. He even went home and talked to his wife and some friends about it. They all agreed that Haman should talk to the king and convince him that Mordecai should be killed. That night, the king was not able to sleep, so he ordered the records of his reign be brought in for him to read. This book was where everything that happened was recorded. He found in the book the record of my uncle exposing the plot to kill him. He asked what has been done for Mordecai for saving my life. They said nothing had been done. At that time, Haman was headed back to the palace to talk to the king about killing Mordecai. When Haman arrived to talk to the king asked him what should be done for a man I wish to honor. Well, Haman thought he was talking about him, so he answered. He said he should wear a royal robe the king has worn and ride a royal horse the king has ridden, one with a royal crest on its head. Then he should be led through the city by the king's most noble prince, declaring this is what is done for the man the king delights to honor. Then the king told Haman to go at once and do exactly that for Mordecai. Haman did as he was told. Afterwards he ran home in anger. He came back for the second banquet I had prepared, and the king asked me again what my request was. I told the king if he had found favor with me, would he please save my life and my people. I told him that I and my people have been sold to be destroyed. He asked me who did this, and I told him an enemy, this vile Haman. The king was very mad, and he had Haman killed. I then begged the king to put an end to Haman's evil plan. Well, the decree had already gone out and could not be changed, so the king wrote another one instead. It stated that the Jews were allowed to assemble and defend themselves against this attack. When the time came, the Jews assembled in their cities and provinces to attack those determined to destroy them, but no one could stand against them. The Jews struck down all their enemies. My uncle Mordecai became second in rank to the king. He worked for the good of his people and spoke up for the welfare of all Jews. So I guess I did save my people. God did not need to do a miracle to rescue his people. He's able to work through ordinary events and ordinary people like me and you. God always takes care of his people. I can't wait to hear how God uses you.